Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, reviews, and answers that you can use like an answer to the question, Chris, why are you streaming so early today? Well, one, different people would be able to tune in this early in the day, and two, I thought Diana was going to have an appointment this afternoon, which unfortunately she no longer has. So, there you go. I'm streaming live early today. It's not so bad. I'd like to go this early in the day on a regular basis. The issue is with TLDR, largely supported by you, my patrons, my supernomies. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do TLDR, because the challenge with doing a video series like this is it's long form. Some people don't want to tune in to a longer video or listen to a longer podcast, but those who do support it in that capacity by saying, yeah, it's worth a few dollars a month. So thank you if you are a patron or one of the supernomies. I'm hoping to throw even more bonuses down the pike to you on a regular basis, including in relation to one of the bits of news that was surfaced today, and I'll get to that. So the first thing I want to show everybody is something that I was kind of exciting to discover. Exciting? I was exciting. I was very exciting. It came by way of a Laughing Squid share, although I have a feeling that if you would have discovered it, you would have told me about it as well. I love it when everybody tags me in on something. It's kind of funny. We started the hashtag Vader Spotting. People are using it. I'm trying to get Dave Prowse to start using it as well, if only because I get to discover awesome things that, are Darth Vader-ish in nature. We all have our things. So, this was sharing a creator, someone who loves 3D printing, and what he's doing with it effectively. And some people may be offended by what he's doing with it. I am absolutely enthralled with what he's doing. I mean, yeah, I like 3D printing. I'm not the type of person yet who's going to jump into the fray. I've always treasured this, and I wouldn't say it's a collectible, but it means a lot to me because Jerry Berg, a.k.a. Barnacles Nerdgasm, one of the best nerds I know of, he made this. And Jerry, I'm sorry. I know you're not watching TLDR. Probably not. Maybe you are. I owe you a text. You asked me yesterday. This is how awesome Jerry is. Seriously, I'm gonna read Jerry's text to me, and I haven't even bothered to respond yet, and I apologize for that. Give me a second. Let me pull it up here. I'm not gonna show you everything, but he says, "How you holding up, big guy? Haven't heard from you much lately. Just wanted to check in." Jerry, I don't say this about a lot of people, but that was very sweet. You are awesome. He made this for me, knowing that I'm a Darth Vader fan, or at least a fan of the collecting Darth Vader things, and 3D printed on one of his own 3D printers. Not super high resolution, but it's just awesome. And if anything's going to pull me into 3D printing, it's knowing that I could create things like this, which I could, but the challenge with 3D printing right now is it's still hobbyist. Like extreme hobbyist. Like very, very technical, which is great if you love technical things, but it's just not in the realm of where it's going to be fun for me right now. Until I can find the right 3D printer that gets me going enough, lets me, do things with a greater degree of ease than, it might take for the average person who might love hardware and know or have some degree of software building experience, which of course Jerry has, which makes him, to me, an alpha nerd, absolutely. So or maybe I found it on Facebook, had shared the Laughing Squid link, and I do follow Laughing Squid. I've known Scott Beale for a number of years. They sent me a link to a story where they were talking about this guy. His name is Mucky Chris, or at least that's his handle. Mucky Chris makes 3D objects on his 3D printer or printers that are in various pop culture geeky characters. So this is a postcard that came with my order. I'll get to that in a second. Mucky Chris, it turns out, when I ordered it, he's at muckychris.etsy.com, and you get a free 3D printed Millennium Falcon with your purchase. Of course I saw this, and what he had, and of course he had Darth Vader. You can see where this is going, or guess where this is going. But, there he's got, it's Chewbacca, a Cylon Raider from the classic Battlestar Galactica, Groot, which I should tag James Gunn on that just so he knows. And they're in a variety of colors and shapes and sizes. So, Mucky Chris, or Chris, we're not on a first name basis, but he remembers me from the Call for Help days, Tech TV. And so I was like, oh, cool. I needed a custom order because originally I had ordered a Darth Vader, a black Darth Vader, and then I asked him, I'm like, well, would you be able to print up a gold one and a silver one as well in various sizes? And he said, yeah, sure. He'd made a custom order. He did it pretty quick, and the turnaround was fast. So the result, we're going to start small. I ordered a small silver Darth Vader, and it's hollow. Very, very lightweight. It looks like it would have some weight to it. The I would say the level of detail is what you would expect. Not super high resolution. If there was a size or a scale of his Buddhas that could stand to have a higher resolution, it would likely be this one. That does not take away from me enjoying this size of a Darth Vader Buddha, and you'll see as the figurines get bigger and bigger, you can see more detail. But very very lightweight. You can see that he's autographed it on the bottom there. It's hollow, as I said, and it looks good. It looks good. The details, the sculpt gets a little fudged at some of the finer points, specifically on Vader's face. But it's kind of par for the course when it comes to 3D printing right now, especially when these objects are not printed at a super high resolution. This one you may not be able to see as well because it is black, classic black Darth Vader Buddha. I've never seen anything like this before, never had anything like this before, and yes, it is authentic. There's his autograph on that one as well. So, yeah, this is the one I wanted originally, and then I went and got a silver and a gold one. Since every Buddha statue that I've ever seen, like I said, I'm not trying to offend by doing this, because I understand some people have a different, they value these, they value Buddha at a different level than I do. But I've said it before, my moments of Zen usually come when I'm able to enjoy life and just and zone out and not think about anything. And so much of that has been a part of within Star Wars. And I talk about building Lego sets, and that's how I zone out and not think about anything. So I realize I'm mixing a lot of culture, and I realize I'm mixing a lot of experiences and religions and belief systems, but ultimately the way I look at it is that it's unique. I think it's something that I would like to have had. It's something that I do have. And if you're offended by it, I'm not the person to go after. You would want to talk to Chris, but honestly, I'm having fun, which I like to do in life. So this is the gold one, the gold Vader. He looks a lot. You know what he needs to do. I just thought of this. I need to tell him. I don't know if he can get away with it, but recreating the Indiana Jones idol, from Raiders of the Lost Ark. At the very, very beginning of Raiders, where he's got the idol. He needs to do that because he's got the color. And I believe this is a paint application, if only because on the bottom, it wasn't painted fully, and I didn't get his autograph on this one. It's not a complaint. If Chris is watching this, I'll have to send him a link. But I do want to know which gold color and what you used on this, so that I can do a full application of the gold across. Just for completeness' sake, I would like to be able to do that. But this appears to be a black base with a gold paint on it, and then of course I'm missing his autograph, but I know it's authentic because it came by way of Chris. Anyway. Just thought I'd let you know that this kind of thing exists, and I had fun with it. All right, that's my not so very collectible of the day that I've now spent way too much time talking about. Yesterday was National Pizza Day. I hope you celebrated by eating pizza. We featured a few awesome pizza-related things in the LockerGnome feed, and of course on LockerGnome.com. Friday was Bubblegum Day, so we surfaced awesome bubblegum, including bacon bubblegum, wasabi bubblegum, awesome bubblegum flavors that you may likely never have heard of. And then I do also want to mention to everybody, deals.lockergnome.com has still got the PS4 giveaway, the Boundless S3 Bluetooth speaker at 25% off, and the Mammoth Interactive Apple Watch App Builder course at 89% off. Apple Watch, not available yet. You want to start building apps, you want a crash course, 89% off. I'd say that's one hell of a discount for everybody. Oh, and I've also heard back from the person who's helping me run shop.lockergnome.com. He's sending me some stuff to showcase in videos. So I don't know what he's sending yet. It's going to be a surprise for me, but I'll be featuring them in upcoming videos. Shop.lockergnome.com for geeky merchandise across the board. So I mentioned, talking about bonuses and giveaways and what have you. One of the recent bits of news, at least as far as today's concerned, is that Amazon is now hosting giveaways. So let's say you've got a community, you're a part of a community. Giveaways are difficult to manage. Insanely difficult to manage, which is one of the reasons I don't do them. I don't do giveaways on a regular basis because people don't exactly want to play by the rules. They get upset because there are certain international restrictions, the costs associated with it, the management of it. Moreover, my biggest frustration with a certain amount of giveaways is that you basically, to get people to participate in a giveaway, Sometimes you attract people who are only looking for a handout. Getting followers in exchange for giveaways usually attracts the wrong people. Those people are leeches, they're parasites. Those aren't the people I want to give anything to. I want to give things to people who appreciate the things that I'm doing for them. And unfortunately, in a grander scale, it doesn't always work that way. So what I'm trying to do is factor in a regular series of giveaways for patrons at a certain level or higher. I got to work through the details mentally on how to pull this off, but it's something that I think a lot of people would participate in. I got to figure out what I'd want to give away on a weekly basis that I think the patrons would be inclined to want to participate in. And it may be something in relation to a piece of electronic equipment that anybody could use, like a tablet of some kind. I don't know yet. I'll have to figure it out, I'll guess. Or I'd like to go one level deeper. I'd like to give away, toys, Star Wars stuff, Lego stuff, the stuff I love. Or maybe I'll just rotate it. But anyway, I would likely now at this stage do it through Amazon because it would mitigate costs, make it easier to manage, and allow me to give back to the people who give to me that way. So I'm happy to do that. Very happy to do that. Hopefully everything will turn out fine, but with giveaways, you just never seem to know. Last week, I did mention that I wanted to talk about a couple stories in depth, but before I skip that, I did want to talk about the giveaways, if only because I referenced it in this particular video. Earl Green, who you've heard his name 1,000 times, and that's probably not hyperbole either. I've definitely talked about Earl because every day he sends me a laundry list of rather awesome news stories that he's discovered, many of which I'd seen as well, but some I hadn't. He was making note that for a DIY crowd, techies are more on an increasing basis homeschooling their kids. And we talked about this the other week. Lightly. We dusted the topic, really. My dad was here, and someone had asked in an AMA TLDR what I thought about education and, how technology could change it. And I kind of talked around the topic of homeschooling. And I believe that you'll get far more education outside the classroom than you will from inside the classroom. I believe that. I do believe that it is my intention to empower Jedi with tools that will allow her to explore her imagination and explore the world around her and expand her horizons independent of a classroom. I believe in supporting public education. I absolutely will. And if only for the reason that I don't want a bunch of idiots running around. I mean, we've got public education now and there's still a bunch of idiots. Here's the thing. You can put a kid in the classroom. You can put an adult in the classroom. You can put an adult anywhere and a kid anywhere. If you don't want to learn, you're not going to learn. You're going to be an imbecile, right? You can't force someone to learn, but when you can ignite that flame inside of anybody, then why not do it? And I think that is one of the parents' primary roles and responsibilities in terms of rearing a child is giving them as much as they can in terms of time, tools, and attention. And it's not practical for every parent. But without that, studies have shown, and you don't even have to look to studies, you can look at experiences of what happens to a child in their development when they just don't have guidance. And I believe that the best teacher for a child is going to be their parent or guardian. It's going to be their family. It's what they're going to see around them. So I believe it just makes sense to me. Techies who are usually DIY, they've got access to a wealth of information. They're using that, and they're giving that and passing those skill sets along to their children. When it comes time, if I haven't latched onto it at that point, when it comes time for Jedi to, when she starts, showing some kind of interest one way or another, if I am not, that passionate about 3D printing at that point, I would definitely have her spend time with Jerry. I'm like, okay, Jerry, let's have her design like a bracelet or something that Jedi might want, and then show her the process and then show her how to do it because it could kindle a passion that could last for the rest of her life, or an interest, or just show her that she has the ability to control her destination. And I think above all, homeschooling gives the parent, not just more control, but a better opportunity to show the child, to show your entire reason for being. Come on, biologically speaking, we're put on this planet not to make pieces of plastic, but unlike what George Carlin says, we're put on we're alive because of plastic. That's our only reason to exist. No, we're here to reproduce. So to give that child those experiences and be hands-on with it, you're doing your best. You're doing your best. Not every parent can, but I think if a parent has an opportunity, I'm absolutely going to be homeschooling, whether I'm doing it through official means or not. I'm absolutely going to be throwing every educational opportunity down the pike for Jedi to pick up on, and then finally tune it and find how she learns, which may be completely different from how I learn, and learn what she's passionate about, and figure out how to take that and allow that to blossom. And whether you call that homeschooling, education, or you just call it being a parent, to me it is apparent that that's the only obvious choice. So techies apparently are more inclined to do homeschooling. It's fascinating to me because I kind of fall into that category, and haven't had this deep discussions about this, but I'd be inclined to do that on a regular basis, and maybe even turn it into some kind of series of videos somehow, because there's a lot more materials, there's a lot more social support. Some would claim, well, just make sure they get to hang out with other kids. I'm like, I don't think that's going to be a problem. We get plenty of socialization, not just offline, but online as well. Not going to be an issue. And ultimately, it's giving her enough tools that she feels empowered. And I don't know if today's school system and the teachers inside of today's school system, every one of them, mind you, that's my background, is in education. I don't know if every one of them would necessarily have the best interest for my child in mind as much as I might. And if I have an opportunity to make my child's life better, that's exactly what I'm going to do. If I have an opportunity to make your life better, that's exactly what I'm going to do. This is my legacy. You are my legacy. I like talking about this stuff because I feel like, it means something. It's not just this piece of hardware. It's what this piece of hardware can do. I know I've beaten that dead plastic horse to death a million times. Not that plastic horses could live. Earl also sent this link in Taiwan. This is outstanding. They've gone as far as to outlaw iPads and other electronic gadgets for children under the age of 2. Big deal. People have asked, well, what do you think about, giving Jedi a first computer? I'm like, it's cute and everything, but the problem is, as we've evolved, we did not evolve with these things in our hands. This is, it takes a certain amount of understanding and cognition to not just manipulate an object on the screen. I think you can figure that out, but this is not going to elicit any degree of empathetic response from a human being because it's a screen. And this is where parents fail. This is where children fail. They treat this, and the people they communicate with through this, they treat this lens here, this screen, however you're watching me right now, they treat me like I'm not a human being. Some people do. No respect. They just see me as this thing, this object, this non-human on the other side of the screen. And that's not true. That's where technology can destroy. And when you introduce technology to a child at that age, they can't grasp it at the same level that someone who has enough emotional maturity can. Not to mention developmental problems like short attention spans all the way down the line. I mean, turn to the research, not me. I mean, if you live in Taiwan, that sounds like awesome news. Now, I don't think the government should intervene with the parents either. I think it's a parent's choice, but the parent needs to be made aware that it's just not a good thing for a child. Last night, books could be, considered a piece of technology as well. Last night, this was vlogged too. It's very, very touching. My mom was reading to a Jedi. She had picked up a book, a Valentine book, and so she's reading to her. And as mom opened a page to a certain page, there was a teddy bear, a little object on the book. And Jedi, even being at almost 4 months old, she was reaching down and grabbing specifically. She was hitting on that page that bear. She was trying to grab the bear over and over and over again. So it was this flat surface, but she knew there was an object there, and she couldn't necessarily do anything with that. And then, of course, the page turned. But it was nice to see that she's at that stage developmentally, and the last thing I want to do is stunt that. Who would want to stunt your child's developmental growth? You want to encourage it. Reading's good. Books are good. Technology's good. But it can also be something that if used incorrectly, like with any tool, it could hurt. I'm not saying that the book's going to hurt. What I'm saying is, for her to see that object, she's able right now mentally to say that's something there that I can grab. That's different. It's there, but it's not there. It's on a flat surface. She might have had the same experience, with a phone, and she's had them in the past when she's been on my lap and I had to pick up a device to do something. She's likely seen it and wondered, well, what is this flat surface? If I encourage that kind of behavior, I actually could be hurting her, and I wouldn't want to do that. So Taiwan outlawed iPads and other electronic gadgets. Even if you don't believe that, there's enough evidence to indicate that technology can hurt a child's growth in these crucial stages. After that point, then you introduce it slowly. You use it as a tool. You don't use it for any other way or means. It's also been shown that like videos that would mean to educate a child could actually not educate the child any differently than you could with experiences beyond a television or a computer screen. So just be warned about that as well. There's not a lot of educational value with videos and computers and electronics and technology with children at a certain age level. I'm not the person saying it. I'm just telling you what has been reported to me, and trust me, makes a lot of sense. Because developmentally speaking, none of us were born with this in our hand. None of us. In other entertainment news, to go to steer a bit more towards the lighthearted part of my day, I'm excited about this. The Legend of Zelda is allegedly going to be coming into a Netflix series, a live-action Legend of Zelda. That it's happening. That's allegedly. I don't know if that's officially been confirmed. It's a rumor. It would make a lot of sense, and it would make a lot of fans happy, and I would be in. That's one that I would, from day one, absolutely. The original Legend of Zelda game on the NES was one of my favorites, as well as The Adventure of Link. After that, I kind of, moved away from Zelda. Something might bring me back in, and it could very well be it. I always liked thinking and dreaming about being in Hyrule and, collecting the Triforce. Never did, though. I have somewhere a Link figurine. Somewhere. I think it's packed away in storage. It's not opened. I don't think it's going to be worth anything necessarily, but a lot of people are fans of Link or Zelda or that entire universe and story. So this is awesome news for geeks and nerds. Even if you don't like Zelda at all, I think if the live-action video series was good, you'd probably watch it. And Netflix has pretty much shown itself to be able to create high-quality content. So another reason to get a Netflix subscription may very well be, or hinge on, them doing this, a Legend of Zelda series. Which I realize is this news is a few days old if you follow it in social, but this is the first TLDR that I've been able to do since the news broke, right? Friday's TLDR was AMA. Monday's TLDR was AMA. Today, I'm talking about the news. Next on the entertainment list, another thing that kind of got me excited, I ended up sharing a photo, which I did not have permission to share, admittedly. I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, but this is really big news. Spaceballs may be getting a sequel or a prequel. There's going to be, allegedly, according to Mel Brooks, he is working on another Spaceballs movie. So if there was a rumor, I would say if Mel Brooks said it himself, it would make sense. Now, it would make sense as well because you've got Star Wars coming out with Episode 7 later in the year. By the way, every time I hear the name Kylo Ren, I can't help but in my head say that name like Stimpy would. Kylo Ren? I don't have a good Stimpy voice. I hear it am I the only one? Am I the only one out there who knows who Kylo Ren is? It's sad if I do, and I am, but I know I'm not. So, this is awesome. I loved Spaceballs as a kid. We watched it over and over and over and over again. I'd heard back in the day they never produced Spaceballs action figures because they were too close to Star Wars action figures. I don't know if they'd be able to this time around. I always wanted a Dark Helmet action figure. Thought it'd be cool. I also would love to cosplay at some point as Dark Helmet. That would be my cosplay. Because, I'm kind of Rick Moranis-ish. Don't tell Trisha Paytas. If I had, imagine me with a dark helmet. Dark helmet with the whole suit and the tie, the helmet. Would I not be the perfect dark helmet? That would be my cosplay, I think. As long as it was comfortable. Maybe if I meet a costume tier, someone who, or what do you call them? A costumer? someone who does cosplay, knows how to put that together, I'd sign up for that. I'm officiating a wedding, and I've asked if I could figure out how to do it as Dark Helmet. Because he's got a tie. I see your Schwartz. Go watch Spaceballs if you haven't already. Please. And I'm also begging Mel Brooks, please, just do a sequel. And it better be called The Search for More Money. Otherwise, I will be very disappointed. The next bit of entertainment news for geeks, this is something that is going to be happening. BattleBots is coming back, and I guess they're updating it. Of course, you'd expect that since the last time we saw BattleBots on TV years ago on Comedy Central. Why it fit there, I don't know. Or how it fit there, I don't know. BattleBots, I never really got into as much as other people did. It was interesting. You have these robots battle each other. So they're going to amp it up. They're getting rid of a couple of restrictions, and they're making BattleBots such that cameras like GoPros could be mounted within the BattleBots themselves, giving it a different, unique point of view during the battle. That'll be interesting. You want to talk about a use case for YouTube, which is currently beta testing multiple angles for videos, kind of like with DVDs years ago. You had DVD angle, which I don't think ever really got used in a lot of mainstream movies. But like a show like BattleBots, if you could watch BattleBots on YouTube and press a button and change the angle with those angles being recorded from various sides, that would be outstanding. That'd be fantastic. You want to talk about a use case, that would be it. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the way it's going to play out because ABC is relaunching the series. They're also getting rid of, I believe there's a weight class or a size class, such that now a small bot can battle a big bot or vice versa. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, but I think a lot of DIYers, if you love hardware, if you love fighting robots, BattleBots is coming back. Apple, just in case you're sitting there wondering, why does he never talk about Apple? He never talks about Apple. All he talks about is BattleBots. That's all he talks about. There's one guy out there, or girl, who says that. I guarantee there's going to be a comment that's going to say that. I guarantee. Don't be that commenter. So Apple is, is part of the smartphone marketplace. Doing pretty well. Sold a lot of phones. Apparently, they're also taking 93% of the profits. Whoa! Okay. Hear what I just said, okay? It's not just about having the most devices out there. 93% of the profits being generated in that segment of the industry, which is a big segment, these pocket computers, Apple's got it. Wow. How many players are out there? How many other players besides Apple? And Apple's got 93% profits. Even more dramatic in the article, and we'll be sure to link this to you in the video description. More dramatic was what I saw in the charting profits around Q3 or Q4 2013. Up until that point, as far as when the chart started, Samsung and Apple were kind of jockeying for position. They were kind of going up and up and up and down and up and down in terms of profits. Then around Q3 2013, this is what happened. They were going up and up. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but right around that point, Samsung went this way and Apple kind of kept doing this. And so Samsung has been on this slide and Apple's been on this climb right around Q3 2013, according to the research. This research. Of course, research is research, and I'm sure another firm might be able to disprove it, but Apple's reported a lot of earnings, and Samsung, not so much. So directly from the companies, these charts would seem to jive with everything else we've heard and everything else we might understand is being reported. So, that was dramatic difference. Samsung doing this, Apple doing this, as I talked about in the Q&A with you and me last week, which I believe is going public for everybody. The patrons got it early. Everybody else, I think, gets it today or tomorrow, something like that. Or maybe they got it yesterday. I don't know. I'm producing a lot of videos for everybody. I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you're paying attention. I think Samsung still has a shot. They can still make it work, but they have to double down on a few things that I did cover in that other video. Let's see, how am I doing on time? I've talked at length about a few things, probably more at length about a few things that other people may not be interested in, but, it's 3D printing in general. I don't know. I'm still looking, I talked about education at length. I talked about technology. I talked about 3D printing. I need a good title for this video that covers it all. I wish I could get into 3D printing. Maybe that's a good title. I really do. I wish I could. I know some people say, oh, it's easy. No, it's not. It is if you love calibrating and tweaking. I don't. I really don't. There hasn't yet been a 3D printer released that worked for me, that I would want to spend my money on. I'll spend your money on something, not a problem there. But there's so many options out there, and not all of them I see are really outstanding for the way that I would want to do 3D printing. Like, it's how I feel. Everyone feels differently about this, but I've yet to find 3D printing to be anything more than just something for hobbyists or something for certain use cases. But I really want to get into 3D printing. I really do. I wish I could get into 3D printing, which some people say just do it. It's an expensive hobby, and I don't know if I have the patience for it. I don't know if I have the time for it. If you have any recommendations, I got to talk to Jerry again. I know we got to do another Geek Out at some point in the near future because we do really well together. That Geek Out, of course, would be published into this channel. I think that's what I want to go with as a title. I wish I could get into 3D printing. I wish. When you wish upon a YouTube video, you're probably not going to have that wish come true. Okay, I'll stop singing. I'm going to move on to the Patreon Hangout at this point in time. But let me remind everybody, as I try to say every day, I love you, I appreciate you. But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.